Hi, everybody. Lori Fulbright here. As a crime reporter of 34 years, I've covered a lot of these cases, but since I've had two of them this week, I thought we would talk about caregivers who maybe get overwhelmed when they're caring for a loved one who is either older or has some medical issues, and then things go awry. We've had two cases this week. One is a man, his girlfriend had had a stroke years ago and was in a wheelchair. He took her in, but then all of a sudden, the family says he wouldn't let them see her. He wouldn't let them talk to her. He got rid of the phone, and so really isolated her. We see that as a big red flag. When a caregiver is isolating someone from their loved ones and their family, big red flag. So they really tried to give her food. They tried to offer to help with her care, but they were basically shunned at every turn. Well, he's now charged with exploitation, neglect by a caretaker because he ended up calling 911. And when the paramedics got there, they said her condition was horrific. I mean, they were shocked by her condition. She hadn't been bathed, she hadn't been cleaned, there was rotting food all around. She was stuck to a plastic sheet she'd been lying on. It was just terrible. They took her to the hospital and she passed a few weeks later. He's now charged with that, as well as trying to get her money, change her life insurance policy, and things like that. Another case I have is where they reported that a woman is now charged because her mother was found deceased in a home, and she was already in stages of decomposition by the time that they called law enforcement, and they admitted, yeah, she's got medical issues, she had this problem, that problem, she hadn't been to a doctor in 3 years, they really hadn't taken care of her, met her needs, and so now that daughter is facing charges. So deputies who investigate these cases say there are some red flags. One, if a caretaker is keeping that person isolated. Two, you need to have some checks and balances on their money, right? A trust is a great way to go, but you need to have two trusted people who have access to the bank accounts, who have access to the debit cards and the credit cards, because a lot of these that we see are financially motivated, right? They don't become overwhelmed, they become greedy. And whether it's the kids or a loved one, they decide they want their inheritance now. So we see that a lot. That they'll use the money and they'll go spend it on all kinds of things for themselves and not the care of their loved one. So knowing who's in charge of the money, having two trusted people in charge of the money with access to the money to have checks and balances, if they are being isolated, making sure they are being taken to a doctor, making sure they are being fed properly. There's all kinds of resources out there, you guys. There's so many resources, counseling for caregivers and services that will come into the home and all kinds of things that are available for people who are trying to care for an older person or a person with medical condition. Be safe out there.